took care of running your automation. CSV format is lighter format, so we had choice of XML or CSV. We chose CSV because you can, excuse me, you can quickly relate that to. You can play with it in the Excel files. Custom HTML reports we kind of configured, and then we used for the tools. We used 3 tools: WebDriver, Calabash, and Sequoia. That's it. This is where that kind of importance this solution had. And then for the notifications, we use .NET APIs. So these are some sample reports. I don't know how much visible for that. So if you click on a particular test case here, then it will give you the details, the steps and all. These are the Calabash reports, the Cucumber reports. One is all pass, other one is few failures. Details on the failures, you can go deeper into it. This is because you are maintaining the logs. So the coverage wise, we could, there's no miracle to it, we cover 100% API test automation, you need to do that. 100% web scenarios, because wherever it was a complex scenarios, we used Sequoia to assist WebDriver. 92% very high again on the mobile scenarios, because some of the OS component related, anybody if you have worked with Calabash, you will understand that any OS, it cannot support outside the application, because you need to instrument the code with Calabash libraries. You need to add Calabash libraries reference to the code, and then you do. That's a limitation of Calabash. APM is a substitute for that. So, but in this case, APM, when we developed this, APM was in essence stage, so we chose Calabash. And so we could not do 8% there, but good part was we could do end-to-end. We could use mobile, somebody signing up from the mobile, somebody doing web, approval for the user from the web part, web portal part, and then same person going back to the mobile interface, and then continuing with the functionality. So this mix and match we could automate. Advantages: dev and QA teams use the same harness. Code base, as I said, that the versions are maintained. Excuse me, water. So they maintain the same code base for unit testing and QA verification. Continuous integration enables timely automation execution and morning reports in the inbox. Another interesting thing was, earlier the idea was to use automated test cases, UI test cases. That was this typically conventional approach to generate volume test. Conventional way is to use your functional automation for generating the volume data. So what we did is we used CRUD APIs again. We went to the APIs directly and then we created the volume data. CRUD is create, update, and delete. So if I just take a minute here to conclude, test automation must provide best possible ROI, optimum cost of quality without compromising quality of service, because there's no way you just try to curb the cost, but at the same time you cannot compromise with the quality, so that's not acceptable quality of service. And then, so if you look at tool-based test automation approach, it needs upfront commitment in the tool. You have to choose a tool. It has a high dependency on the support from the tool vendor and involves high capex. When you are a startup organization or you are starting on a product where there is no return from the product, there are a lot of requirements, there are limited resources you need to utilize it wisely. So this is a big hindrance because it needs high capex. As against solution-based test automation approach is derived from the test strategy. So it tends to align with the test strategy because it's derived from that, and it is flexible to accommodate strategy changes. In the quarter one, I want to support my mobile story, so I said, okay, I'll invest in mobile, and then this is changed. For some reason, there's likelihood that we're getting a client who wants integration with some cloud systems. So our priorities all of a sudden change. Okay, mobile now is pushed to Q2 or Q3, cloud is coming first, right? So we can change our priorities there. Solution approach, so to conclude, sound approach is to build custom test automation solution. It can be as comprehensive as needed. It can have, you don't have to have all the features under the sun. You can just take what you want it can be as flexible as needed, right? So because it's your solution, you are building it, you are evolving it, you can control it better. Thank you. And any questions, comments? Yes, please.
Yeah, I can hear you.
BDD, I think what I want to say is that I'm in the right place. BDD, I think, is something that we follow intrinsically when we do test design in a functional or acceptance. So I think you should take back your word because.
Sorry. It's just a lighter.
No, I'm just saying because I think it's just a fancy or catchy word that industry likes to use.
Correct.
And the way a tester approaches is based on logic, which is again a user behavior.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean all these agile and continuous integration, continuous development, all this.
So that's one thing.
Nice words to hear.
Yeah, and
at ground level, what you do is important.
Yeah, and the other question that I had is when you say you were going from a solution perspective, you said I should look at what should be my automation approach based on what is my quality goal or product goal, right?
Right.
So is there some coverage that you aimed for in terms of code coverage before you started, rather than saying this is the statistics in terms of number of scenarios we have covered, which I think again is the typically how we report out, right? Saying I came out with 100 user scenarios, I automated it. But the question is, did the system need 200 scenarios? No one knows. So how did you quantify that 72 was sufficient, and did it meet your code coverage kind of say criteria or goal that you had?
Yeah, so again, that particular phase is important. If it's not part of that phase, you don't have to go after that, right? If the product is in early implementation phase and there is a bit of a dead code in the code, it's fine, right? My focus is make sure that all the demoable features that I'm going to demo to the customer or that they're looking forward to, the core features that they're looking forward to, they should be automated, and that's what we achieved. So the user story is there and you automate it, so it's covered, right?
So basically, you automate the test cases, right? You're designing a test case.
No, so there are two things, right? Actually, when you go with the BDD approach, you take directly those user stories, and the user stories are written in the language that Gherkin format, which is BDD is what the spec about. So, and you automate those. So if each user story is written, then you can always have variations, right? So component testing, you break those user stories into different components. That's what regular QA team does. And then you automate that. Well, here, what you do is you take the user stories like end-to-end scenarios and you automate that. Right, because product is in a nascent stage, so you don't want to get into detail unless you get written from the product and invest further in the product. As product gets into, it establishes position in the market, then basically we kind of get more details. We cover negative stuff, and then all the other corner cases actually. So here the requirement was API. They wanted to make sure APIs are solid strong, because once the core APIs are established, they don't want to really change that. Secondly, the volume behavior and end-to-end scenarios. These were the priorities. Yes. Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, that's one question, and I also have one more question about lacking in the programming itself. So that's the programmer's problem, and he might not have defined the controls or control IDs are not properly defined. Is that a problem with the code?
Thing. So, and then this topic is, fortunately had like last 16 years of experience with quality engineering and test automation. So whatever I see, based on that, I'll answer that. So basically, it is very important, right? Companies like Microsoft, right, for whom I have worked for a good period, there is this rule: if automation cannot recognize your UI, then it's a valid bug, right? It is no good decision for the product release. So your UI should be such that at a UI level, at other layers you can definitely automate it, so it's not a big deal. But UI level, it has to be automatable, right? So that is important. So that's the second part. The first part is which tool. That again comes from what are my test goals, right? So if my test goals are to ensure that I have around 50 to 60% test coverage or 80% test coverage, I need to support mobile. as well as I need to support Windows-based desktop applications and whatnot. So that's on the UI front. And the API front, if I need to support some kind of asynchronous calls, so I should be able to deal with that. So all these parameters I need to consider when I choose a particular tool. So that's the answer to the first question.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.